The Silver Slugger Awards were handed out today, and much like with the Gold Gloves, I didn't see anything really worth talking about, save for one selection, which I'll get to in a second. First, I want to address one specific selection that I wasn't frustrated at, that's being Hunter Goodman winning over Will Smith. Now, Goodman had an OPS about 60 points worse to go along with far inferior totals in batting average and on-base percentage. However, the Rockies catcher did crush 14 more homers, so I'm not going to get too up in arms over it. I personally would have voted for Smith, but it's not a huge deal. What is more baffling, in fact, so much so that I decided to make this video, was the choice of Zach McKinstry as the utility player winner. The first thing I have to point out here is that, of the options presented, which were Maikel Garcia, Ben Rice, and McKinstry, Zach by far had the most diverse range of positions he appeared at, including at least 15 games as a third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, and right fielder. Meanwhile, Rice appeared in just 86 games in the field cumulatively, over half of which were at first base, and Garcia spent 136 at the same position in third. I only point this out because perhaps what the voters were thinking was that Rice and Garcia weren't actually utility guys, which is why they voted for Zach. This to me though wouldn't make much sense, because if that's the case, why were those guys nominated? There were other guys that could have took their spots. Still, since they were, I'm going to choose to believe that they were all being compared equally. With that being said, that's why the choice was so ridiculous to me. The Tigers lefty, despite a very solid breakout season, still came in last in runs, hits, doubles, home runs, RBI, walks, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, and OPS plus among the three presented. In fact, the only category he emerged on top in was triples, unless you want to count stolen bases, but that doesn't really make any sense for a hitting award. But what makes this even worse is that the guy who I think probably should have won it, Rice, had over double the amount of home runs at 26. Why is that relevant? Well, if Smith was passed over because of his lack of dingers, why was this same logic not applied to the utility position? Garcia finished 10 behind Rice as well. Even if Maikel had been picked though, I wouldn't have seen fit to make a video about it. I mean, the Royals third baseman had a near 6 wins above replacement total, a 286, 351, 449 slash, coming out to an 800 OPS and 60 extra base hits, all totals that Zach wasn't all that close to approaching. Another guy I think personally probably should have been nominated over players like Rice and Garcia, who again weren't really utility guys, was Addison Barger, who played 91 games at third base, along with 57 in the outfield, while managing to simultaneously lead the league in assists and register a perfectly adequate 0 fielding run value. This would qualify him for the utility portion. At the plate, he posted 54 extra base hits despite taking only 460 at-bats, with 21 dingers, 32 doubles, and a 454 slug. Would he have won over Zach? I'm not sure, but at least it would have been more of a conversation. If you're going to nominate those other two players, one of them has to come away with this award. Otherwise, it makes 0 sense. Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.